You've probably heard that nonsense of,
You gotta pull the trigger with the center of your finger pad.
that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, because not everyone has the same size hand and not everyone has the same size gun.
This thing's supposed to stop something?
There's a couple key first principles that you have to understand about a good trigger pull. The first principle that you want to understand about a good trigger pull is that you want to pull it straight to the rear without any sideways forces at all. And you might think that's what the boomers are doing when they tell you,
You gotta pull the trigger with the center of your finger pad. Bad.
but as we've already discussed, that doesn't make any sense. So because the first principle of how to pull a trigger properly is straight to the rear with no sideways forces, if you find yourself using multiple joints, you're imparting all kinds of forces into that trigger. Another crucial part of your trigger pull is that you do not want any other fingers affecting how your gun moves while you're pulling the trigger. So what you'll notice is when you pull this one, these ones have a sympathetic response, and it's actually a lot harder to stop that. And I'm going to be sharing a drill with you on how to fix that. And you also want to find the exact spot on the finger pad that's going to work best for you. So the first drill I'm going to have you guys do looks incredibly dumb, but I promise you it's very effective and you're going to be very, very frustrated. And it's going to take you like 15 minutes to figure out. So the drill is basically like this. You want to put the pen in between the webbing of your fingers, put it right up against your index finger, and you want to pull back as if you're pulling the trigger on a gun. And you're going to see all the forces that you're imparting into that trigger pull. You're going to notice when you pull with all the knuckles, you're going to notice that if you pull with all your knuckles, there's a sideways force being placed into the pen, and it's kind of going off to the side. If I'm exaggerating it like this a little bit, you can probably see that a lot better. But you'll notice if I pull with one single hinge point, it goes straight back. So that's the first part of the drill. It's going to explain to you which way the forces are going that you're putting into your trigger. So the second part of the drill, you want to be moving your index finger as if you're holding a gun, but you want to try and not let this happen. You see how my fingers are moving here? And the reason that's bad is if these ones are getting involved, if you're yanking the trigger, if you're slapping the trigger, if you have shot anticipation, this contributes to you shooting low and left. So instead, you want to focus and concentrate very, very intensely on not letting the other ones move. And even I get this wrong because your brain automatically just contracts the other ones. If you spend 15 minutes doing it, you're probably gonna get very good at it, but a week later, you're gonna suck at it again. That's how this goes. So that's drill 1 with part 1 and part 2. So you'll be relieved to hear that the second drill actually involves your firearm, but if you're going to be handling a firearm, you need to know the 4 universal firearm safety rules. So check the pinned comment. You'll also find the link to my program. If you want to actually make real progress instead of getting distracted by Demolition Ranch videos, click the link in my pinned comment to see what you get access to. So yes, I have cleared this, no rounds anywhere. Boom, boom, it's cleared. Okay, so with your cleared firearm, the drill is basically this. You're going to stand as if you're hip firing. I want you to have a top-down view of your gun. So you want to be looking down onto your gun. What I want you to do is I want you to pull back on the trigger, get up to the wall, and have your front knuckle bend back a little bit. See how mine's a little bit bent back? So I'm exaggerating this a little bit for the video so you can just see a lot better. You'll want to focus on just pulling straight to the rear and just hinging at this one point. You want to practice hinging at that knuckle right there. So you're going to pull straight to the rear. How that would look if you were actually performing it. Single hinge point. So with the third drill, we're going to figure out where you want to place your finger. So you're going to have a loose grip. You want to pull right up to the wall, which is the point right before the trigger breaks. And you want to sort of just move your finger to see the forces that's going into the sights. You want to try with the tip of your finger, pulling the trigger. So for me, the sights just jump into the left when I try to pull with the tip of my finger. When I try with the center of the finger pad, it's a little better. When I try with the edge of the finger pad, that's a lot better. When I try with the crease of the knuckle, now there's rightwards forces going in. And when I go past that, that just is insane. So if you just test those different finger positions, the tip of your finger, the middle of your finger, the edge of your finger pad, the crease of the finger, and past that finger, there's gonna be one that stands out significantly to you as being more stable than the other ones. And that's basically the one that you're gonna be using from now on. So the fourth drill is basically just combining absolutely everything you've learned. Try not to get the lower 3 fingers involved. Pull straight back to the rear, one hinge point with the proper finger placement that works for you best. Try not to disturb the sight picture, line up your sights. Now for that last drill to actually bear fruit for you, you need to know how to grip the gun properly. And luckily for you, I made a video roasting actors and actresses while teaching you how to grip it properly so you can avoid their stupid mistakes. Click here to watch it.